You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, more Republican shenanigans. As expected, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs their voter suppression bill, Senate Bill 90. The purpose of the bill is to impose more onerous regulations on ballot drop boxes, cutting them drastically, restrict third-party voter registration organizations, and place new voting rules by mail. Now, DeSantis banned all media from attending the bill signing. He gave it as an exclusive on Fox News. During a news conference at Panama City Beach, DeSantis was asked why he barred all other media outlets.
Why did you only allow Fox News to capture the moment you signed the controversial election bill?
So we did a wonderful bill signing for this great elections bill, and it was live on national television on Fox and Friends, and we were happy to give them the exclusive on that, and I think it went really, really well. But that's broadcast to millions of people, not just obviously throughout the whole country, but a huge number of people in Florida are watching that. We had a crowd. We probably had 1,000 people in the crowd that were really cheering on. So it was an exciting day to be able to do that, and it's the first bill signing I've ever done live on a national broadcast, and so it was good. We also had a great visual aid that we were able to show, where we're showing all the great things that are in the bill, and some of this stuff that was going on in other parts of the country, where you'd have these big private groups come in and spend hundreds of millions of dollars to run elections. That is unacceptable. We are not allowing that in Florida. We're going to make sure our elections are transparent and they're not being funded by special interests. We're also going to continue with voter ID, which is very, very important to make sure that you are who you say you are. And we're also going to make sure that we don't have ballot harvesting. Okay, it's not for some political operative to get a satchel full of votes and dump them off. You get the vote, you send it in, or you go vote in person. It's one thing to have a family member take, fine, but to have these paid operatives go out there and do it like they do in California and like they do in some of these other states, that's a big, big problem. You know, voting is supposed to be a secret ballot. You're supposed to go in, you have the booth and all this stuff, and then you have ballot harvesting. You have people that are going around and messing around with other people's votes like that. I think it's terrible for our country. So Florida, we just said no. We're not going to do it. So I think it was a really positive day. We got a lot of great feedback on it, and we're proud that we were able to do it on national television. Thanks, everybody.
That was a pure trash-ass example that he gave right there. So you screwed the Florida voters by not having Florida media cover it, but you say, oh, millions are watching on Fox News. The new law, folks, goes into effect immediately, but will face heavy opposition in court. It's already been faced with lawsuits by the League of Women Voters of Florida. They filed a 69-page lawsuit in U.S. District Court in Tallahassee. Also, Black Voters Matter. They've also filed a lawsuit along with others. Joining us right now is Cliff Albright, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Cliff, glad to have you on the show. This is real simple, Cliff. Republicans, we saw it in Georgia. We knew it was going to happen. They're doing the exact same thing in Texas. We saw the same thing in Iowa. Republicans are angry that Donald Trump lost. They're angry that Democrats won the Senate. And so what they are doing right now is putting these voter suppression bills in place, restricting ballot drop boxes, because they do not like the fact that more people voted in the last election than ever before.
Yeah, and nowhere else was that the case as much as you saw in Florida, where they had record turnout, 77% turnout. Vote by mail alone, Democratic voters voted 680,000 more. That wasn't the total, not 680,000 ballots, but 680,000 more vote-by-mail ballots than what Republicans cast. That's exactly why they're so upset. They're scared, right? Because and really what's ironic is that vote-by-mail in Florida has traditionally been a Republican operation. It's been something that they created, their legislature created, that their governor's been fine with, that their voters have used more than our folks, than Black voters. But in this election, because of what happened, they are terrified, and because of that, they're coming up with these lame excuses and these lame, that press conference that you showed. His his lack of answer to the question, right? The question was, why was Fox the only one there? And he completely didn't answer the question. That's the same thing that happens whenever anybody asks them, why are you doing this bill, this voter suppression bill, when there was, in fact, no fraud. In fact, they themselves said that their elections were the gold standard. And so after praising their own elections that they ran, then they felt the need to try to fight against fraud. It's nothing but fear. It's nothing but a strict power grab. It's nothing but white supremacy, and it's not going to work.
And what it is it is absolute white fear. It is fear of minority voters. It's fear of them turning out in record numbers. That's what's going on here. All this talk about voter integrity is pure trash because the election was certified by all 50 states, including Republican secretaries of state, including Republican governors. That's fact.
Right. No, that's exactly the fact. And what you see happening is that in Florida is actually the first state to pass one of these major voter suppression bills that Trump had actually won, right? In Georgia, it was because their anger was because of what had already happened. In Florida, as is the case in Texas, what the fear is what's about to happen. They see us coming. They see our numbers. They see the work that we're doing on the ground. And when I say we, I mean a range of organizations within this Black and brown organizing ecosphere. They see what's going on, and they see the writing on the wall, and they're terrified. And because of that, they know that the only way that they can win is cheating. I remind people all the time, you don't cheat when you're winning, right? If you're a spades player, Roland, like I'm sure you are, you don't renege when you're winning, right? You renege when you're losing. That's what's happening in Florida. That's what's happening in Texas. That's what happened in Georgia. That's what's happening in a lot of these states. And again, we're ready for him because we had this lawsuit ready to go. As soon as he signed it, the ink wasn't even dry, and our lawsuit papers were being filed. Well,
and the thing here is there's no doubt. If they had won, Trump would have said, wonderful, fantastic election. It's great. Change nothing.
Right. No, that's exactly the case. Because, in fact, what we know is he and his family voted by mail, right? We know that there's a lot of Republican officials that have voted by mail, including some that don't even live in the state. But that's a whole other story, right? And so yeah, it's exactly right. What you said is that if they had won, and won not just the state, but won the presidential election, if they had won the Senate, then we wouldn't, we'd probably still be seeing some of this because, again, they'd still be afraid of what's coming, right? They'd still see the writing on the wall. But the way that they've responded, the breadth, the depth, the speed of the response, the ferocity of the response that they're doing, criminalizing, giving out food and water, the restrictions on the drop boxes, in some states, including, in Texas, criminalizing elected officials who might send out ballot applications to voters. The way that they're responding, again, is nothing but white terror, white fear stemming from white supremacy.
All right, Cliff Albright, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
All right, thank you, Roland.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.